Welcome to the show, It's Your Life Again. This has been a month of richness, a month of tips, of insights, of so much new knowledge and information for me, and I hope for you too. We almost finished April, and every single day of April we had another speaker with an amazing topic. Someone who brought to you some knowledge and some experience and some tips of how to cope with the situation of the coronavirus at the moment. Now, It's Your Life is all about you. It is your life. So why are we doing that? We cannot change the situation outside, but we can change how we feel inside of us. We can change how we behave. We can change how we live our lives. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mona Abdurrahim Santel from Mind Your Power. And I am very, very pleased to announce today with me on the show, Petra Frese. Petra is originally German. She lived in Switzerland also for a long, long time, and now she is in the US. Petra has a background in science, actually. She has a doctorate in is it intuitive science? What is it, Petra?
It's an honorary doctorate in psychology.
In psychology. And she deals a lot with what she calls intuitive science. And then she combines it with that spiritual side, where she goes a lot into hypnosis. Petra is also a hypnotherapist, and she's also a hypnotherapy trainer. She's very proud of being part of the OMNI Hypnosis Association, which is one of the big associations worldwide. Petra has written a book, and I have seen her even speak, I think in Switzerland, about her book that speaks about hope, which deals with terminal illnesses, diseases, etc., and how to cope with that. But today, she's going to talk to you about something totally different. Now, many people are at home. Many people are happy to be at home, to be with their families, to be together, to have their children and their husbands and their wives and mother-in-laws and father-in-laws and everybody together. But then we have the people who actually are quite happy, or were quite happy usually, to just in the morning go to their work. Husband goes this way, wife goes this way, and then they meet in the evening again. And now they sit together. Now they are confined to a house and are sitting together day and night. I personally have had a lot of inquiries for relationship therapy, for couple therapy nowadays, because for some people this can be a huge problem. Petra will speak about that, how to cope with that situation. What are the things that you could do if you are afraid that your marriage could break down? But also she combines the science and the physical world of sexuality, of what is sexuality and how important is it in a relationship, with the soul and the meaning and the purpose and everything else. So, I have spoken a lot, Petra, and everything else is up to you. Tell us a little bit about how you got to that. And by the way, for everybody else, Petra and I are going to have a sort of a conversation today, and Petra is inviting you also to join. If you have comments, if you have questions, or if you have any thing you want to share, please type it into the chat box at any time.
Yeah. Thank you, Mona. Thank you all for being here. And first of all, I want to thank Mona for organizing this for all of us. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of giving to the community, and I highly appreciate that. Thank you for doing this for us, Mona. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Because without you and all of the other speakers, I wouldn't be able to do it. So back to you.
Appreciate that. Yeah. Why am I going to talk about sexuality today? There are different reasons. And one of the reasons Mona mentioned already, the coronavirus crisis, and a lot of couples struggle. And this is what I see in my practice as well. So a lot of people now calling in and ask for support, for advice, for help. And what I think what this crisis does, it intensifies almost everything that we're experiencing. So Mona mentioned if the marriage is more or less just we live together and we do the things together and we can escape during the day, and this stopped suddenly. So couples have to be together 24/7, and the issues they had prior to that, they got intensified. And now they don't know how to handle it because the escape doesn't work for the moment, right? And it's not the only issue that comes to the surface now. It's one thing on top of the worries, the fear, the loss of control. And it just, in some cases, it just breaks the camel's back. And to help that couple to cope with the situation and to hopefully save the marriage, that's my intention. And I'm focusing on the marriages that can be saved here. I'm not talking about the marriages that are abusive or where violence is the primary thing. That's a different topic. But to understand what's going on underneath, why suddenly, or even not suddenly, this happens, that the couple struggle so much, I think we should have a closer look on what's the issue underneath, because especially women have the tendency to nag on their partners. The male partner usually don't express it so much. That is an issue also. They have the internal fight, they get angry, but they usually do not express in the way that women express. And the male partner takes it as nagging, and they do not respond. And the more quiet they are, the more the woman thinks, I have to tell him again, I have to tell him again until he listens and understands, right? And that's the spiral upwards. So what coronavirus did to us as the human race, I think this is something we can copy paste in a smaller scale to a marriage. Pause for a moment. I see it as an exclamation point in our life, to pause for a moment and kind of press the reset button and remember why you have married that partner. Because very, very often the driving force for the issues is self-doubt. We blame it on our partner that things don't run smoothly. But the underlying cause very often is that we mistrust ourselves, that we have so much self-doubt that we didn't make it right. And when we remember why we fell in love with that partner, and when we bring it up to the surface again, why did we feel attracted to that man or that woman? What is it? Then we can rekindle the love, the feelings, and we understand ourselves much better. When I work with couples, or either one of the couples, that's usually the first thing I recommend. Hit the pause button for a moment, take a deep breath, and remember how you are together with this specific partner. That's usually the first step. And the second step is that we talk about the basic needs, the basic human needs according to Maslow, are food, water, air to breathe, sleep, shelter, and sexuality. That's usually a step down the road after we hit that pause button for a moment. Mona, how are you working with your couples? What's your experience?
It's actually mixed. So I am working with people who are embracing that time and who are sitting together and using that time that they have together to actually get to know each other better. And of course, with the help of someone like, us, a lot of other therapists on the call too, we can give them the tools also to, learn to appreciate again and to see the positive, like you just said. But then again, of course, there are these who are complaining quite a bit about each other. Yeah, complaining about the other partner a lot. And I guess this is what probably many of us are seeing now at the moment. It's not only couples, it's also within the family. Yeah. But then, of course, the couples themselves, marriage themselves, they have children, they tend to maybe push all the problems onto the children and everybody else. But if they're just the two of them, then they have to face things that they maybe have denied for years and years and years.
Exactly. And my experience is that most people, they don't call when the bond becomes stronger. This is what they usually manage by themselves. But when the issues get bigger, then they call in and ask for help, right? Absolutely. That's what I see much more frequently here. And again, I'm not talking about abusive relationships. It's a different thing, different page to work with.
Yeah.
But when we focus on what created that situation that now they cannot handle it anymore, and the excuses, how long could we use as an excuse for having sex? I have headaches. It worked for months and years. That's a pattern I hear all the time. Very often that's, oh no, I'm tired or I have headaches. And when you're together 24/7 for months or two, you cannot have headaches every day, right? So we have to look at that core, at that issue of the core. And very often I find misbeliefs that especially women think they shouldn't desire sexual activities. They somehow have related it to being dirty, that's something men want, and they deny their sexual desires. And when we can work with that belief system, that's very often a huge relief. And I share my beliefs and my experiences, and I lay it on the table. So if they want it, they can pick on it and take it and taste it, but I do not tell them this is how you have to handle it, this is what you have to believe. And my perspective is that we are souls having a human experience right now. So our energy, our souls entered into this lifetime in a human body in order also to experience this human act of being sexually active. We like to eat, we like to enjoy food. This is what we celebrate. And as I said, food, water, air to breathe, sleep, shelter, and sexuality belong into the same group, the basic human needs according to the pyramid of Maslow. So when we allow ourselves to enjoy the meal and to celebrate that, let's enjoy our sexuality also. It's a human experience, and it helps a lot to get the energy flowing, to release tension, and to know ourselves much better, to get to know ourselves. It's a basic human need, and it's a basic human right. And when we get this straight in the heads, then we open the door for pleasure. And when we can experience pleasure together, we strengthen the bond. That's connection, right? And it's mostly approval that especially women give themselves approval to enjoy. Sorry, you wanted to say something.
No, I think that concept of, Maslow's hierarchy of needs is very interesting, how you put that here. And, if we, let's say, even at work and in the corporate or work environment, we need to always start with this basic needs, with that with the physical needs, basically. And if we don't have these, we cannot progress. If we don't have the money and the house and whatever we need, food, then we don't worry about appreciation and rewards and, the certificates and whatever it is. So now taking it into, you put sexuality here with these needs. How does it affect your soul, or how does it affect you if this need is not met?
I think we miss out on an experience we should have as a human being. We are denying one part of our living being. So we miss out on that experience. Secondly, we stop our energy flow. This leads into health issues later. This does not allow our self-esteem to grow. And also competition. They had studies done in Germany many years ago that they did not allow soccer players to have sexual activity, I think 4 days prior to a game, because they thought they would fight stronger. And they found out it's totally the opposite. Then they made them have sexual intercourse 2 hours prior to the game, and they played so much better, so much harder. So yes, if we want to our power, our energy flow, and be at our best, this is one of the things we have to provide ourselves with. It's part of the hygiene. We brush our teeth, we feed ourselves, we pay attention to the quality and the amount of sleep we have. Let's include sexuality into our, I would like to say, daily hygiene.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Very interesting concept also, and you mentioned also that approval, yeah? So if I feel approved, if I feel wanted, if I feel the confidence, the self-esteem, then also I would be more productive. We have a question here. Is it the same issue if it was bad quality sex and stopped, and if it was good quality sex and stopped? So is it the same if it's bad or good sex?
The reason why the person stopped, they are different. But the result, what's at the end of the chain, is the same thing. And I compared again with food. If we had a bad partner, if we had a bad dinner conversation, a fight or a bad meal, we stop for a moment, but then we restart eating. If you had a bad dish and you didn't feel well, you had a day or two with digestive issues. But this doesn't lead to stop eating. But we think we can stop being sexually active because we had a bad or good experience, we miss it so much. So this is what I want to say is self-responsibility. Yes, it is much more fun when you have a partner. But it's our responsibility to fulfill that need. And when we stop blaming it on a partner, we realize that it's our responsibility. And I think this is very important, especially for women, to realize that. We don't stop eating or drinking water if we don't have a partner, but we stop being sexually active if we don't have a partner, or if we blame it or can blame it on the partner, that it's not enjoyable. Does this answer the question? Yeah. Thank you.
So basically it comes down to, sex is a basic need. We need to have it. And then again, like you just said, you just mentioned the responsibility. Yeah. So it is our responsibility to make it good. Yeah. And
exactly.
I guess there is where you were talking about beliefs, and especially the beliefs of women, etc. There is, I think, where beliefs come in, that it's not something to have to be pleasurable, but it's just something to satisfy maybe our husbands, yeah, as women. So how do you deal with that?
I usually come from the back door and explain it at the example of being in control or letting go of control. So when you see this from the angle of control, many of my clients, including me, we are raised with you have to be in control. You have to have your things in order, you have to have your finances in order, you have to be in control of your numbers, your calorie intake, your sleep, your work hours, you have to be in control of your emotions. This is how a lot of us are raised. And when you orgasm, you're not in control. When we sneeze, we are not in control. It just happens. Have you ever tried sneezing and thinking about something? It doesn't work because we are totally in the moment. It just happens to us. When we are in labor, when we are delivering a baby, there is no time to think about the grocery list. We are totally in that moment. It happens to us. When this baby wants to enter the world, we have to be there and give up control. And sexuality is similar to that. When we are willing to let go of control for this certain amount of time in our life, we can enjoy it. And that's the willingness to create balance. I think the state of well-being is balance. When we experience both control and letting go of control, being in control and surrender, and we have both, then we can enjoy it. And that's the pleasure. And when we understand that, then it's so much easier to change the belief that we as women shouldn't do this or shouldn't desire it. Nobody has issues with that opening of the body, right? We care for it, we show it, we use lipstick, we present it, we clean it. But the other opening of the body, we think we should not care for that. I think it's not true. We pay a lot of attention what we put in here. Healthy food, organic food. It's important to us. Let's give the same importance to the other openings of our bodies. And pay attention with whom we share it, yes. But when we decide to share it, enjoy it.
You spoke a lot about control, and that's really an interesting subject also, letting go. You also spoke about the blaming, you know, it's your fault, it's your fault. So where does someone start? Especially for these people who are now at home and who are having problems, not necessarily sexual problems, but these problems of control or problems of intimacy because they don't want to sit together, and that leads to not having such sexual intercourse, of course, also because we kind of avoid one another. So where does someone start?
The starting point very often is to change the attention from the partner to self. When we understand, we blame it on the partner because we want to blind shield ourselves from what's going on inside. Very often, we mask the issues we truly have. How many women have I had calling for weight management issues? If I lose the 20 pounds, then my partner will find me attractive again, and then we can have sex again. That's all those conditions, and we mask what's our true issue. It's not the 20 pounds. And it's not that your partner doesn't find you attractive. It's the self-doubt, this feeling of not being enough. And then we push others away. And the more gentle we can guide our clients to the realization, that's all about the question, am I enough? The more successful we usually are. If we do this too fast or too harsh for the client. I know we don't say it harshly, but it depends on how the client perceives it, right? They usually shut down and say, no, I have to lose that weight first. But it all boils down to the question and the belief, again, you are enough. And when you are enough, you know that you have approval to enjoy what you want to enjoy, right? And that it's your right.
Yeah, am I good enough? Yeah. So would you say that a couple that has that likes and has pleasure in sexual intercourse has a better marriage?
Definitely yes, because they have common ground. And when they disagree on whatever, when they argue, usually they have better communication. They exchange thought processes, usually clearer and in a more respectful way. And they have an arena where they make peace again. So when they know we can fight, we also can have joy together. I think that's very important. Again, it's about balance, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I think it's hard to admit that the problem is inside. I don't want to blame my clients that they don't see it, because they really they search for help and they truly believe that their issue is what they perceive as the issue. And this is so hard, and that's why they need us. That's why they need help and guidance to be able to see it. The closer it comes to us, so grandparents, parents, partner, children, ourselves, the harder it is to see the underlying cause, right? And this is not that they want to get it wrong. This is usually they believe that's their true issue. They truly believe that. And to take the veil aside, that they can see where it comes from. I think this is our purpose. And to gently guide them by the hand and show them you deserve to enjoy your life. And sexuality is one part of it. And when you improve your physical bond with your partner, you can sustain other challenges together. It's an overall happiness and strengthening the bond. And this is what we are doing here right now, right? We are not sexually active with each other, but we are strengthening our bond. We are sharing the love. And this is what we need. This is food for our hearts. This is food for our soul. This is for humanity to evolve and to grow together. So there are just a few people who cannot have that physically. If after surgery or injuries, they cannot be sexually active. That happens. Most people can. And the chain, I assume you all know about the chain. It starts with a thought. The thought creates the feeling, and the feeling leads into our actions or reactions. And then we prove ourselves, of course, I knew it before, right? That's the cycle. And when we interrupt that pattern and we change the thought, then we can change how we feel. And then we change how we act and react. And one advice I give, mostly to women because men naturally have this, I ask them, think yourself into it. If you wait until you feel it and you act according, you will wait much too long. It doesn't happen. Because the cycle starts with a thought. And when you can change your thought, when you can change your thought that you know you deserve it, and it's natural and it's normal and it's for your health, then we change how we feel. And then we feel that we are attracted to our partner and recognize that we have desires. And the first round of that change, thought, feeling, reaction usually is the toughest one because it leads to a surprise very often. And the more often we repeat that cycle, the better the result becomes, and also for the partner. Because when my female clients, they come back and say, hey, you've been wrong, I tried it. So I fought myself into it, and it didn't work because he could not have an erection. Yeah, sure. After how many years? He was so surprised. Be consistent. Be consistent, and don't blame it on the other. Don't blame it on yourself. It's normal. It's a human need, and we deserve it. And not every dish is a five dish meal, right? Don't have the expectations that high that every time beautiful, wonderful. It fluctuates like life.
Absolutely.
Start with the thought. Change your thoughts.
Okay, my question is a little bit weird, I think, but I faced many cases, especially in my Arab clients.
Mm-hmm.
So the man was raised to think that sex is filthy. So he would marry someone and have kids and have very formal sex, while with the mistress or in extramarital relationships, he has amazing sex.
Mm-hmm.
And when I asked them, did you ever try to do with your wife what you do with the mistress? They would tell me, no way. This is very disrespectful. She's the mother of my kids. I would never do that with her. And this is why the wife is not happy. She pretends to have a headache every night. And whenever he doesn't ask for sex, she's so happy. This is why I asked you about good sex and bad sex. So sometimes she's very happy that he's not asking for it. So I do my best to change the limiting beliefs of the man about the sex and the being dirty and the thing. But it's not very easy because it's a way of life and it has been through generations of...
Absolutely. It's not easy. Changing your thoughts, changing the beliefs, it's not an easy process. It needs the willingness, the intention to change that. And here comes in the difference between goal setting and intention. When you set a goal, you have a clear target and you have a time. By then, I have achieved that, right? And we set ourselves up for either success or failure. And with an intention setting, you don't have the time limit on that. Okay. We can course correct all the time. And if you didn't succeed this time, correct your course, continue towards your destination. That takes a lot of pressure off. And of course, it includes hygiene, physical hygiene. That's a given. So I didn't even talk about that. I think this is so important to change the thought process and the perception of what is filthy and what it's not. And when I come up with the example, the mouth and the vagina and the anatomy, when we educate our people how a clitoris looks like. Sorry for that, but how many people do know the anatomy of a clitoris? Usually people have no clue. And the more they know, here comes the scientific part. And I have a 3D model and I can show it to them and they are super astounded. So when they know the size of the organ and how to pleasure it, they feel so much safer because knowledge and emotions go hand in hand, right? And then men also realize that's not filthy, that's not dirty at all. And why it takes longer for women to get aroused. And they understand that the organ, the huge part of the organ is inside of the body. They understand, okay, it takes a little longer for the woman to get aroused because the anatomy is just different.
Thank you. I think this is also a lot of cultural aspects that come into play here. Yeah, a lot of cultures that we see that have a different perception of sexuality and sex.
And the sad thing is that when the wife tries to do an effort and to do something a little bit kinky, he would ask her, where did you learn that? Mm-hmm. Instead of enjoying and appreciating the effort, he would wonder, where did she learn that?
I'm a human being. I'm here to learn. And my soul is guiding me to experience my physical realm. This is what it is to me.
I think what I see here is it's a huge opportunity for people to actually rediscover themselves now that they are stuck together, you know, literally stuck together. So it is a huge opportunity. How important is the communication and the mental connection here? If the emotional side, the mental, the communication is non-existent, how important is that, and what should there be included?
You are absolutely right. It's not the one or the other. And the better the communication is, the better the sex is. The better the sex is, the better the communication is. It goes hand in hand. And when we can work on different parts of our relationship, the faster we evolve. And it's not either or. And sexuality is one way to communicate. So when we open up, when we allow ourselves to feel our partner, that's one way of communication. But it's not the only way. So just being sexual active without verbally communicating doesn't work on a long time scheme. And the other way around, I think, is the same. It's not healthy either. So yes, it's part of it, and they absolutely belong together.
We have another question here. Yes.
Yeah, usually during coaching, what I explain to my clients is the concept of perception is projection. So whenever you are annoyed with your partner from whatever topic, we need to see why is it annoying me. So if it happens with my neighbor or with my sister, she would have had a different reaction. So should we guide them to see through themselves, why is this bothering them? Does it make her feel not good enough, or does it make her feel less than good, or how do you handle this?
This is what I meant earlier, as I said, very gentle. Yes, I totally agree. I hear you, I see what you're saying. And the goal is to make them see that. But how you can communicate that, I think this is up to you, how good you know your client. And yes, it's usually a mirror, right? What we complain about the most, this is what we don't feel right inside. Very often that's the case. And how you hold that mirror up to your client, that's the thing I meant. Do this. I learned to do this really gentle, because they either follow you and you increase the trust, the rapport, or they shut down. But yes, you are right. Absolutely.
Because that's a topic that we don't discuss so much, like I said before, right?
And we also don't talk about death and dying a lot. We have, in our human existence, we have some topics we usually see as a taboo. And death and dying is one of them, and sexuality is another one. So I changed my perspective since I had multiple near-death experiences. So I changed the perspective. I'm not talking about that. And what I wanted to say is, please feel free to get in touch with me. I would love to hear from you. Petra@petrafrese.com anytime. I really enjoy being here with you, and I enjoy your questions and the interaction. So please feel free. And if something comes to your mind later, please, Mona has my contact details, and get in touch.
Petra, everybody will get your contact details. It will be with the replay, and everybody, of course, can get in touch if they have any questions as to how to deal with another client, or even get, I think I saw your book on Amazon, right, Petra?
Yeah.
The book called... I want to thank everybody for being on the call, everybody for tuning in, and also for being courageous enough to ask questions. It is so important. It is, like you said, a basic physical need. And, you know, when we look at the whole evolution, if we didn't have sex, we all wouldn't be here, right? I mean, that's something basic that we need to do. So yes, thank you so much for being here, for choosing that topic, for speaking about it so openly. I would love for everybody who has something to say to send me an email at mona@mindyourpower.org, Mona, M-O-N-A, @mindyourpower.org. I believe everybody has something to say. Everybody has experiences in their lives that are very, very precious and valuable to other people. Many, many people don't think of them as valuable. They just think I'm just a normal guy, you know, who has nothing to say. But no, every single person has. So please, please, if you're on the call or if you're watching the replay on YouTube and you think, you know what, I do something that is really cool and I want the whole world to know of it, then please send me an email and I would love to host you on this show. This show is going to continue daily just for another about 12 days. And then we will go on to doing it weekly. If you would like to receive my now daily and then weekly emails with the speaker of the day, please do register at the link that is underneath that video. And if you like to see what you missed and watch all the replays of all the other speakers, then go to my website, mindyourpower.org. It's your life, all speakers, and watch them. Now again, back to today, Petra, I want to thank you so, so, so much again, and everybody else who was on the call. I love and leave you, and I hope to see you again.
Thank you.